We'll make it clear that these games, in many respects, will be different.
Bit of an obvious statement there from the International Olympic Committee regarding this year's Tokyo Games. What he's referring to, though, is a new playbook released today, a how-to guide for the Games, which are set to go ahead this summer in the midst of this pandemic. Both the IOC and organizers of the Tokyo Games are determined to make it happen. Today's playbook, the latest attempt to accommodate that. They say vaccines will not be mandatory, but officials expect athletes to take a number of COVID tests both before and after arrival. So how are Canadians feeling about these new rules? Joining me now is Aaron Brown. He's a Canadian sprinter and Olympic bronze medalist. He joins us from Orlando, Florida, where he is training for the Games, which he is hoping to attend this summer. Aaron, I want to ask you first what this past year has been like after the Games were postponed last summer, but you obviously have kept up your training. How different has it been?
Yeah, it's been an experience I've never had before, but everybody's dealing with the same thing. So it's just a matter of being mentally tough and making sure that you're staying ready for no matter what comes up. And, you know, it's been a whirlwind, and to get to this point and still not have the answers is a little bit frustrating. But, you know, there's a lot of bigger things going on in the world with everybody dealing with vaccines and, you know, trying to quell the COVID outbreaks and all that stuff and get it under control. So we just got to stay patient and stay humble, stay hungry, stay vigilant, and keep working hard and be ready for whenever they tell us that we're ready.
Yeah, has your training changed in any way? I mean, I think you're in a relay, so that includes other participants. How has that impacted how you guys train?
It has. You know, there's been loss of facilities, and it's been tough dealing with that. Sometimes not having your regular routine that you normally go through with your training schedule and all that stuff, trying to keep up and be at your top of your game, you know, for the biggest moment of your life at the Olympics. But like I said, you just have to be professional about it, be disciplined, and still, you know, find some way to work around it, you know, not let this be an excuse to get in the way of your ultimate goal.
So this will be your third Olympic Games, fingers crossed. You are planning to take part, I understand. So was there a point where you thought maybe I'll sit this one out, or are you still kind of considering? Where are you at with that?
No, I mean, as long as the Games can go on safely and, you know, we're not putting ourselves at risk, I'm definitely trying to go. You know, the Olympics is something that I don't take for granted. I've been to two, and I know how hard it is to get there and how rare of an opportunity this is. So I definitely don't want to sit it out. And if we can have the Games that's going to be safe for everybody, I definitely want to take part of that.
So how are you feeling about this playbook that they've released with some details? They're talking about athletes taking tests before you leave, after you come back, and as well as every 4 days. They're not requiring vaccines, only masking and social distancing. So when you read these rules that have been set out, do you feel like this is satisfactory, or do you have any concerns?
No, I feel like it's pretty good. You know, other sports have done similar things. You know, they try to create a bubble environment and contain, you know, how many people are being exposed and try to follow the guidelines that have been outlined as close as possible. So whatever they put forth and they think it's something that's going to be safe for us and something that will keep us in an environment that's healthy, I'm definitely going to follow the rules and do everything that they outline that they think is going to be safe for us.
I mean, of course, a bubble is a much bigger challenge on this scale than in a regular sport. We're talking thousands of athletes and hundreds of events all at the same time. Are you worried about those logistics and whether they'll be ready?
I mean, the Olympics itself are always kind of falling behind schedule, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was similar, but at the same time, I know how important it is to have these games, so I'm hoping that they might put some emphasis on this and get these guidelines and protocols to keep the safe environment in play, put that at the forefront of their importance. So I'm just going to sit back and watch how these things unfold and you know, do my part, keep training, keep working hard, being the best athlete that I can be, and just let the things I can't control, just let it happen, and whatever happens, I'm ready for whatever.
One thing they haven't made a decision about is fans. I want to know, how big of a role does having fans or even family supporting you play when you're competing?
It's a huge role. Like, walking to the stadium of the Olympic Games is like the pinnacle. You know, it gets your blood pumping, and it's what you always dream of and what you train for, you know, to perform in front of a big raucous crowd. You'll still have the fans supporting you on TV, which is good. but it just wouldn't feel the same without the people in the stadium. And me in particular, I want my wife to be there, and my son who was just born last week. You know, it'd be amazing for them to both be in attendance and be able to see me compete. But if it's not in the cards, then we just got to do what, you know, they recommend in order to keep safe.
I do want to ask you, some polls across Japan say that up to 80% of residents there don't want the games to happen because they see it as a risk to their country, which has largely controlled this virus better than other nations. So what's your response when you hear people saying, well, you know, this many people shouldn't be descending on a country like that in a pandemic?
I mean, I don't blame them. If you think about it, you know, you're working hard as a country trying to get this virus under control, doing all the things they have to do to make sure it doesn't, you know, devastate your population. And then you have the entire world coming in for this big event. So I can understand their frustrations and their concerns with having the Olympics during a pandemic, but I'm confident, or at least hopeful, that the powers that be that are responsible for putting this on are going to do it in a manner that's not going to make the situation worse for the Japanese citizens.
All right, Aaron Brown is an Olympic sprinter and bronze medalist. He is hoping to head to the Tokyo Games this summer, and he's continuing his training in Florida. Thanks so much, Aaron, and all the best to you.
Thanks for having me.